we go. So yesterday, we went and created the, we talked about the interface. We created some sketches, created some geometric relationships to those sketches, and did some little bit of trimming. On today's session, we're basically gonna talk about extruding. So we created the sketching, right? Now we need to extrude those sketches. And that's basically what we're going to talk about today. All right, and let's see here. Basically, you'll see what's going to happen tomorrow as well, and then Thursday. And we'll basically start every day at around 10 o'clock. The session will usually last under an hour. We'll kind of keep it around under an hour. I think yesterday's went on about 45, 50 minutes or so. So again, everything pretty much under an hour there. All right, so like I said yesterday, each session will be a PowerPoint presentation embedded with demos and videos. Like I said, this presentation is being recorded and will be uploaded to our social media channel for later for you guys to review. All right, so let's talk about the types of swept features that we have. The first one there is the extrude. Basically, like I said yesterday, we figure out how to create sketches. So everything starts at the sketch level, right? So we need to extrude that sketch. There's the other one, it's called revolve. And that one specifies the axis to revolve about. And then the last one, sweep along a guide. Now this one right here, it has to require 2 sketches. So I'll kind of show you all that as I work through this here. So the first one here is extrude. On the extrude, you basically just select the sketch, then you basically extend that in a linear distance. All right, so let me just kind of go over that real quick here. So if I grab my, open up my NX and start a new part. And in here, I'm gonna select my model here, template, and I'll go ahead and use inches, sure. And select OK. And then, so basically what you could do is simply click on the extrude command, right? So click on the extrude command and then select a plane. Let's select the YX plane. And at that point, you could simply select your sketches, right? I'm gonna select the rectangle here, the rectangle command, do left click, and then do left click here. And obviously I'm just gonna create a little rectangle here, just kind of for showing purposes. And then once you determine that that's what you wanted, I mean, we could go ahead and apply, obviously, our dimensions here. We talked about this auto dimension yesterday as well. Like I said, I kind of like the old school method here that I like to kind of punch them in there as I go, or use the ones that the NX provides for you. I'll make that 7, okay? And once you're done there, okay, you can either say, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And then that point, either right click here, anywhere here, and then click on the finished sketch, or come up at the top left-hand corner and do the same thing here. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And once you, at this point right here, you have a couple options here. You can either enter the value here, or simply drag on this little arrow here and just dynamically drag it, okay? It's up to you, or you could come right up here as well. You could do that as well. It's up to you which one you feel more comfortable. So at that point, I could tell you that's that's exactly what I wanted to do. I create this little basic part. Once you do that, you could simply click OK. And you're first done with your first extrude. Once you've done that, the first base feature there, now you could keep moving and adding more additional material or remove material from your base feature. So in other words, let's say that I want to continue on. I'm just not going to create a little a rectangle here. I want to create another feature here. So I could click the extrude command again, select the surface there, right? Accept that. And that's going to take me to the sketcher right here. And then Again, I could simply select the rectangle and do left click, and then do right click because I'm actually done with that. So I'll go ahead and just finish that sketch here. Now, depending which direction you pull that, if you go outside, obviously, if you have inferred, it's going to go say, well, yeah, I'm going to add material. But if I go inside, the material is going to actually remove that material. So I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to go ahead and accept that. And see what is done here, actually remove the material. I could do the same thing on the other side and basically create another extrude here. But this time, I'm going to go ahead and add a material. So I'm going to go ahead, select my rectangle again, left click, and then just simply do right click again to finish that sketch. Right. And again, I'm going to go in this direction, actually, because that's, you can see if that's my vector direction I wanted to. I'll sort of come and flip the direction as well. See that? But I'm going to go ahead and accept that. And at that point, simply hit apply or OK. And now you could keep moving and adding, removing, adding material to actually complete your model. And that's essentially, that's where you will start your model. You start with a base feature and then move on and add and remove material. Okay, so there's two approaches to create your extrude. This is where you decide which one best fits you, which one you feel more comfortable. But either way, you're still going to come up with the same. At the end of the day, you're going to come up with the same model. So let me go back up here. So you saw me earlier. What I did here, I created my first extrusion. Right there, it is right there, and the second one, and obviously those were based on either adding or removing material. So let me go back and actually, I'm going to highlight them all here and kind of show you both methods here. Like I was showing you yesterday, I was basically going in here and creating a sketch. And that's all I was doing yesterday, right? Just creating sketches. And you see why this is important, where you could just have the sketches up front for depending on what your intent is going to be. All right, in this case, I'm just going to simply create a sketch here. Okay, so I'm going to say, define that already for me. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and select that one right there. And select that plane. And then go ahead and my rectangle again. There it is. Right click to finish. So I'm done with that, right? I'm done with that sketch. Then I could come back and actually click on the extrude command. And in here, I could simply come back and select the sketch that I just created. You see that? Now, again, I could come back and drag that, whatever distance I want, or enter the value right here. All right, so that's the method right here. That's the first method, right? So you can see that on my part navigator here. Obviously, I started with that sketch, and then I came back with that extrusion right here, with that extrude. Now, let me go back and do this. And I'm going to start right here where there's no sketches at all. I'm going to go ahead and remove that sketch as well. It's gone. And then I'm going to simply start again with the actual extrude command. And then select the plane here. And again, that takes me right back to my sketch right here. Select the rectangle. And that's it, I'm done with that, right? Then I come back and finish that off. And the reason I like this method here, because the sketch, it's going to be embedded inside my extrude. See that? Now, again, if you choose to do the other method, that's fine. I prefer this method. Either way, I could come back and still click on this extrude and actually come up and expose that sketch, which makes it, you see that right here, says make a sketch external. So if I do that, look at that. So we're back to square one. So either way, I could come back and say at any point, I could come back and click on that feature here and say, you know what, I actually want to make that now internal. Okay, so that's just how you would proceed about creating your extrude. I show you those both options there. I kind of explain my preferred method is just simply click on the extrude, because at any point you could come back and expose that sketch as an external sketch. Okay. The next one is going to be a revolve, right? So for this one, I need to actually have a axis to revolve about. Okay, so let me just kind of quickly show you that. And let me delete this extrude here. I'll use the same, but this time I'm simply going here and click on the revolve. Okay. Now, when I select that, so you have to keep in mind when you revolve about an axis, you have to kind of see, okay, well, how am I going to have this part orientated? So it's up to you. If I want to maybe this orientation, well, this plane and this plane won't really make a difference. This one will, because your axis is going to be in the Z versus being on the Y. So it's just that, keep that in mind. Be aware that how you're going to revolve about what orientation your axis is going to be on. I actually turned the other way, which is not what I wanted, but that's fine. All right, so at this point, I'm going to simply use my profile, right? Command there and actually start the, didn't start there. And simply start creating, that profile thing that I used on the PowerPoint there. Doesn't matter, it could be anything like this, any shape, whatever it may be. I'll go ahead and just do it like that. And then again, I'll go ahead and click, and all I'm doing is simply doing a right click and to finish that sketch here. And you see what I'm talking about, the orientation there? That's basically my point right there earlier, right? That you went and created something. Now, the orientation, not probably what I wanted. Oh, let me get this right here. There we go. Let's see here. Something we're using the space bar gets a little, there we go. There's the orientation I'm looking for. Okay. So once I've done that, it's asking me for a vector of the axis right here. So I'm going to simply select the Z and accept that. And as soon as it does that, it gives me that right there. See, 360 degrees. Now I could come back and grab the little handle here and actually turn that, change that a little bit, or simply just put it right back in there and say, you know what, that's it. I'm good with that, and accept that. All right, so that's your revolve. Got a kind of cool little plate there. Okay. The next one is a sweep along a guide. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. I was explaining to you guys yesterday, or showing that you guys yesterday, is that, we were really mainly focused on, sketching, and I was just using that sketch command, but I really didn't talk about, obviously, for a reason that, because we want to cover that today on the extrude. But there's ways you could use that sketch in different ways. Where, for example, here, I'm going to need 2 sketches to create that. So let me just kind of show you this one real quick here. Let me open up my part here, using my hyperlink here. Okay. So in this one right here, you can see that on my part navigator, you have sketch 1 and sketch 2. Okay. So if you can't find the command here, it's usually going to be under more, and you're going to see that right at the bottom here is going to be sweep along guide. And once you've done that, it's just telling you right here. Remember, we talked about our cues yesterday, that obviously the asterisk indicates to me that that needs to be selected. So I'm going to go ahead and select my section, which is here. And then I go to the next one, or hit the middle button mouse, takes me to the next one over. And at that point, I'm going to select the guide. And it's simply just hovering over and doing a left click. And as soon as I do that, there it is. Now, I do have options here in the body type here. If you want it to be a sheet, if that's what you're looking for, that's fine. Or simply just say, you know what, that needs to be a solid. Okay. Okay. The next one here, and this one I'm going to go and show you this in a minute here, but let me kind of just show this one here, because there's a couple of things that need to be when you have already a solid and you create another one on top of that, or add it to that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my part again here. right? So again, I'm going to go ahead and select my command and go right there. And again, simply select the section, which is right here, and then go to the guide. Right now, see what happened here on the Boolean. It's got none right here. Well, if you want that, that's fine. If you want to do a, but usually you want to keep that as a solid, one single. So you want to come back and click here and hit select unite, and that tells you, okay, select the body that you want to unite it to. Well, it's really kind of did that for me. So all you need to do is simply click OK. All right. So what I was trying to explain to you a second ago here is that when we had these two sketches here, you know, how do I go about doing that? So I'm gonna go ahead and simply go ahead and show you that. And that's basically what I needed to do is use simply sketches to do that. Let me go ahead and close all of that right here. I'm gonna start a new part. And yes, I'll use inches there. All right, so this time, instead of clicking any of these commands here, I'm actually just start sketching here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and select sure, this sketch is, that plane is fine. And I'm gonna create something similar. And I'm gonna use the profile command and simply just kind of do a left click. And again, remember yesterday what I talked about that I could simply click on the edge here and the line, left mouse hold, and that's gonna give me my arc here, which is exactly what I'm looking for there. And I'm gonna keep going maybe right about here and do the same thing again. And see that just kind of keeps going along with that without exiting out of the command. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm gonna simply click OK here. I don't want to get out of Sketch. I want to simply say, okay, I'm done with that. And then the next thing I want to do is I need to create a plane on this sketch here. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh no, take it back. I do need to get out of Sketch. My apologies. Yeah, because I need to click the plane here. Yep, because that's a different sketch here. So I'm going to go ahead and click the plane, data plane. And the plane that I want to create is going to be on a curve. You see that? And I could simply drag that. Let me change that here. Move that, and you can see it kind of goes where, oh, not that direction. That's one way, or there's another one right here. That's going to be a point in direction. Actually, that's probably the one I'm looking for here. And that's going to place it right there. Make those a little bigger here. There we go. And say, okay. Okay. So, and then the next thing I want to do is come back and create a circle here. And I'm going to select that plane here. Right. And create my, let me cancel that. Let me do this again. Actually, I'm kind of putting it right there. There we go, right there. Lock it right in there. Okay, so that's exactly where I want to place it, and then simply come back and click finish. Okay, then I could come back, and this is what I was talking about yesterday, where if we were just focusing on sketches, we went talked about it and just create simple sketches right here. So this is the way you would do that, because you need to have two sketches present. Then I will simply come back and select the sweep along glide here, and basically do the same thing here. I already actually selected the section for me. So I'm gonna come back and click on guide, and it just places it there. Okay. All right. All right. So the next thing we'll talk about is creating data planes. When you're creating planes, you sometimes you need to create a either a extrude, or just what I just showed you right here on the previous one. You need to create a plane that's out somewhere, not normally always going to be normal to that part. sometimes you need to kind of start creating these planes to get different orientations to create a new feature, things like that. So if we go do that, we go have to go into the datum plane selection here. So let me go ahead and open up my part here. There we go. All right. So, and the one that, excuse me, the one that we're going to be talking about is mainly the inferred method. I showed you the one earlier. I think it was the one on curve and on point direction. But mainly the one that the best, I think that does most of the work is the inferred method, which you'll see in a minute here. All right, so if you see here, you know, if you, the first one, you select the datum plane, you select the surface, and by default, now you have the ability to simply click on the, select the little arrows there and just drag it or add a value there and click apply, right? The other method is, well, if I select two surfaces, I go select this surface and then the other surface, well, it's gonna infer that you might want that datum plane right in the center of that, which makes perfect sense, right? So you select one surface here, the other one there. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that you wanna make that probably center to that. Again, and it's just simply selecting on the edges there, surfaces. In this case, you selecting the edge there. And at that point, you have the ability to just drag that plane in any direction or lock it to the plane there. All right, so let me go ahead and show you that. So the first one, right? So I'll go select my plane here, my command. And like I said, I'm gonna leave it at the inferred method there. And at this point, I simply select the surface there. And you can see that right away, it's to give me what value do you want to add here. You can either do that or simply just dynamically drag it, you know, or say, you know what, yeah, that needs to be 60 millimeters. That's fine. And hit apply. Now, when you hit apply, it's telling, okay, well, now go ahead and let's go and select the next one. So this one is going to be basically, let's say this surface right here. And notice what it did, popped it over on the other side. Well, actually, I want to come back and select this surface right here. And as soon as it does that, it puts it right in the center of that. Okay. And I go ahead and hit apply. The other one is going to be simply select the edge here. And as soon as it does that, it places it right here. Now you get an indication here. If I drag this, oh, you see the numbers change there, and it goes to 100, and it goes to 0. Well, that's telling me that's going to be a percentage right there, and that's if I put that right in the middle here, it's going to be right in the center of that, right? If I put 50 right there, okay. Well, if I change this, maybe I want the length, right? So if you see that, that's going to go all the way to 55 and 0. So you kind of choose which one you prefer. Okay. All right. That's basically the options to do those based on the selection you make. You could come back and still select other surfaces. For example, if I want to add an angle, right? So you can select the first surface there. You can see that. And then the second one that's going to align it to that surface. I mean, to that, add the angle to that surface. Then once you do that, you get the option to go ahead and add apply an angle or dynamically drag that. So if I go back again here, and I'm going to simply select that face right here, that surface, and this one right here. Oh, wait a minute, I'm still up here. My apologies. I was still up here. I don't know if you noticed that, but okay, it's simple. Just start over again here. All right. Yeah, so where I was at, I was actually still here. I didn't hit the apply. Let me just kind of do that so that way, there you go. I did not click apply. So make sure you do that. Then once you do that, then you come back and start over again. So I'm gonna go here, select that surface there. And then I'm gonna select something to add that alignment to, or the angle. And once I do that, you can see that at this point, I have the ability to simply just either add a value there or dynamically drag that. That's Pretty cool. Very, very easy. Okay. And I could click apply. All right. You could also use a datum axis. If I want to come back, oh, my bad. I think I went too far. There you go. Okay. Okay, so if I go ahead and create a datum axis here, I could come back and actually for that, I do have to select the specific command. And there it is right there. And that's just a matter of selecting the surface area, which is apply for you right there. And you could apply as many as you want. See there, apply, come up here, there, and so on and so on. Okay. Let's see here. All right, so every time you create your part, right, just like I showed you earlier, right, when I first created my first extrude, and then I added a second one, and you know, added, whether you choose to add material, remove material, that basically creates a history of how those features are laid on that linear process. So at any point, you could go into that feature and in either suppress it, hide it, add parameters, edit, rollback, but you could also change the order of that particular part, or I'm sorry, the features. So one of the ones that I think a lot is when they have something like this, right? And every time I do training, I kind of talk about specifically about this right here. What you should do first before you either add a shell, and that way so you get the result that you wanted versus going back and actually doing this. If you find yourself in a situation like that, well, you have the ability to reorder those features. So let me kind of show you this right here. So if I open up this part here, right, and if I look at this, if I rotate that, and you kind of ask yourself, well, how in the world did I end up like something like this, right? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Like you said, when I worked in industry, I kind of learned the hard way where I should know the process to know what results I'm going to get. Okay, so basically, the example here is basically saying, okay, well, if you do run into that situation, you always have the ability to grab any of these features. And I'm just going to go and drag these. Let's say I'm going to drag this one behind Unite 5. And look what happens is as soon as I start doing that, oh, look, see that? Now I open up this right here. And if I keep moving along and I put the shell again and put it behind 6 here, now you added that round right here. Well, now if I grab that and just push it all the way to the end, there, you see that? So one of the things that, like I said, just be aware of how the functionality of the shell. Usually the shell, you should always have it as the last, right? You don't start with the extrude here and then come back and add your shell and then add your round features, your blends, things like that. That's just not going to happen. You're going to have what just occurred here. So a good practice is always, create your extrude, get all your intent in there, overall function of the part. Then the last thing you want to do is actually put in the shell. So that's kind of the rule that I always used, and I worked very well. All right. The next one is, let's see here. All right. So in some cases, if you want to grab that exact same feature and apply that feature to a different face, you have the ability to do that. Instead of, instead of redoing it over again, for instance, I might want to just go ahead and basically reattach the same feature into a different location. So, and that command is called a reattach sketch. So basically, that's what drives everything, right? The sketch is what drives everything. So it's driving that feature. So if that sketch is going to move, guess what? Your feature is going to move as well. So let me go ahead and open up this part here. All right. So first thing I want to do is you need to go to that sketch. So I'm going to go ahead and find that sketch, which is going to be sketch 11. You can see it highlighted right under that feature there. And I'm going to simply go right here and edit that. I'm going to go up to that point, basically to the sketcher here. And in here, I need to go and actually select the command here. And that command is going to be under more. And it's going to be right here, reattach. Okay. Now in here, I'm going to make sure that I select the surface that I want to place that sketch to, which is going to be this plane right here. You can see it's telling me right here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Then I'm going to select the orientation. And I'm going to make sure I select the inferred, because I want that right there. And I'm going to flip this orientation this direction. So I'm going to go ahead and simply flip on that direction. And then the last one is going to be the point where it's referenced to. And again, I'm going to use this point right here. And I'm going to place it right there and accept that. And once I'm done with that, I can say OK. And you see what it did here? If I go here, rotate this here, it's really giving me a preview of the sketch that was here up there, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And once I'm done with that, I simply say, yes, I'll go ahead and click finish. And it would just place it right in here. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. And I believe that was it. I kind of had an extra video here of that as well. I'm just going to go over that. All right. So at this point, that's basically what I had planned to show you here for this session number 2. Again, as a reminder, for maintenance customers, you can also email your questions to support@Design Fusion. Tomorrow, we'll have the third session, same time. If you want to look at the schedule links, go ahead and visit our website. And again, you're welcome go to our website, check out our blog there, and you can see have access to all the material that we've been putting together, even from last week's from John Pearson's. All righty. Again, if you want to start your free NX trial, I'm going to go ahead and simply play this little video here, just kind of show you what I did here. Simply just go to Google, enter NX software. That takes you to that Siemens website. There, you can be able to see the start free trial. Click there. And here, the great thing about that, like I said, it's in the cloud. So there's no software to download. Everything, as long as you have a browser, any kind of browser, it works. It just simply click on the type of trial that you want, whether it's going to be a scan to part, core designer, advanced designer, or if you want to go to even more advanced mold designers. Oh, so there it is right there. So, go at it. If you have any questions, obviously, you can always email us and then we'll be able to help you out there. All right. Other than that, I want to thank everybody that attended the session for today, and then I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. And have a great, wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.